Welcome to the Reset 360. A single photograph has just put the entire world on notice. In Beijing, flanked on either side of Chinese President Xi Jinping, stood two of the most controversial leaders on the planet, Vladimir Putin and Kim Jong Un. This wasn't just a military parade, it was a carefully orchestrated show of force, a public declaration of a new geopolitical reality. And tonight we're asking, is this the moment a new axis of power truly came to be? Before we dive into this critical analysis, take a moment to hit that like button, subscribe to the Reset 360, and let us know in the comments below what you think this means for the future of global politics. Hello and welcome to the Reset 360. I'm your host, and tonight we are dissecting a moment in history that could very well define the trajectory of global power for the next decade. What appeared to be a simple military parade in Beijing has been exposed as a deliberate theatrical display of defiance and a clear statement of a new world order in the making. Watch this.
Lags are far behind those of Russia and the US, but it is rapidly increasing in size, and that is perhaps the point to keep in mind. Now, as you've mentioned, President Xi was joined by 26 heads of state at this military showcase, including Russia's President Vladimir Putin and North Korean leader Kim Jong Un.
And then as you get closer to Xi Jinping, right next to him, there's Kim Jong Un and Vladimir Putin, as if the three of them are leading this new anti-West world order.
This past week, on September 3rd, 2025, China's military rode through the streets of Beijing, commemorating the 80th anniversary of the end of World War II. But this was no ordinary remembrance. On the Tiananmen Gate rostrum, Chinese President Xi Jinping was flanked by two figures whose presence sent an unmistakable message to Washington and its allies: Russian President Vladimir Putin and North Korean leader Kim Jong Un. The image of these three men walking side by side on the red carpet was widely viewed by analysts as the strongest message of defiance to the West. This was an unprecedented moment. For Kim Jong Un, it was his first time attending a major multilateral public event in his 14-year rule, and his first visit to China in 6 years. The deliberate absence of any major Western leaders, with Japan even reportedly urging nations to shun the event, amplified the significance of this gathering. The message was clear: a new geopolitical reality has arrived.
Now, let's talk about the hardware on display. This was a technological showcase intended to project power and deterrence, not just to a domestic audience, but to global rivals. The parade revealed a significant leap in China's military capabilities, beginning with a definitive statement on its nuclear strength. For the first time ever, China publicly displayed its full nuclear triad: land, sea, and air-based systems. The most alarming of these was the newest version of its land-based intercontinental ballistic missile, the Dongfeng 5C, or DF-5C. This liquid-fueled missile is capable of carrying multiple independently targetable warheads and, according to state media, has a range exceeding 20,000 kilometers, putting the entire world under its strike range. This public display is a political act of psychological deterrence, a deliberate signal that China has achieved a level of strategic nuclear maturity that must be acknowledged by other nuclear powers.
The parade also demonstrated a clear focus on countering U.S. naval dominance in the Western Pacific. We saw the unveiling of several newly developed hypersonic anti-ship missiles from the Yingji series, designed to take out ships at sea by traveling at more than 5 times the speed of sound. One in particular, the YJ-21, has been dubbed the carrier killer and is specifically intended for use against high-value naval targets. But the technology didn't stop there. China showcased a new wave of unmanned systems, including the long tube-shaped AJX-002 underwater drone and the Hongdu GJ-11 Sharp Sword stealth drone, designed to act as a loyal wingman to fighter jets. The People's Liberation Army also displayed a triad of anti-drone systems, including high-energy laser and high-power microwave weapons, highlighting its focus on modern multi-domain warfare. This parade, however, was more than just a demonstration of technology. It was a political performance. By framing the event around a historical victory, China reinforces a narrative of national rejuvenation and strength, a key component of President Xi's long-term plan.
The reaction from the United States was swift and confrontational. In an unfiltered social media post, President Donald Trump accused the trio of conspiring against the United States of America. American analysts expressed concern over the palpable shift in global balance of power and attributed it in part to what they described as Trump's inept diplomacy. The parade has created a self-reinforcing cycle of alliance reinforcement. The deepening alignment of China, Russia, and North Korea is a direct reaction to Western sanctions, which in turn validates and accelerates the US's efforts to strengthen its own alliances. We've seen this play out with the US, Japan, and the Republic of Korea pledging to enhance trilateral security cooperation and strongly oppose any unilateral attempts to change the status quo by force or coercion in the Indo-Pacific. An EU foreign policy chief warned that the parade was not just anti-Western optics, but a direct challenge and a deliberate attempt to revise the global security order. Europe was urged to respond with greater geopolitical resolve to prevent becoming a passive observer. On the other hand, the event was a significant diplomatic success for China among the global South. The attendance of dozens of non-Western leaders from organizations like the Shanghai Cooperation Organization and from regions across Asia and Africa is a testament to China's growing appeal as a strategic alternative to Western leadership. The world is not simply returning to a bipolar Cold War era model. Instead, it is shifting toward a more complex multipolar system with competing centers of power and influence. The parade was a clear and unambiguous announcement of this new era.
As we've explored, the Beijing parade was a landmark moment in international relations. It was a carefully choreographed statement of a new geopolitical reality, one where China, supported by Russia and North Korea, is actively shaping a world order to its advantage. The unveiling of new military hardware and the show of unity with Putin and Kim were a powerful symbol of a strategic alignment forged from shared grievances and mutual dependence. While it may not be a formal bloc, the practical outcomes are undeniable, a deepening of military and economic ties that provide resilience against Western pressure. This event galvanized opposing alliances, with the US and its partners intensifying their own efforts at containment. It signals a new era of multipolarity, where the old rules are being rewritten. The key question for policymakers now is how to navigate this more complex and potentially more volatile global landscape.
Thank you for joining me on the Reset 360. If you found this analysis valuable, please like, subscribe, and share this video with your friends. Your engagement helps us continue to bring you these deep dives into the stories that are reshaping our world. Until next time.